Hello, once again, how you doing? This is Evangelist Fred coming to you with a story featuring another story about Christian persecution going on, particularly again in Nigeria. We're gonna talk about what's going on over there. To make awareness, because as we that live in the West, live in America, Europe, Australia, there's so many free nations, so many free Christian nations where we have the freedom to worship, to go to church, to live our Christian life openly, publicly, to share without fear, without hesitation. We're blessed. We are so blessed. But there are people in this world that really pay a price, but yet persevere in their faith. And even though they live in situations where their very lives are at jeopardy, their families, their homes can be taken from them. They can be displaced just because of their faith. And once again, we're gonna look and see what's going on in Nigeria, bring awareness to this of this issue, that you can be praying, that you can speak and share with others, to let them know what's going on, that God can move in this situation to bring some relief to our brothers and sisters. And then the fact that they even know that there are people out there that are aware of what they're going through and praying for them can be an encouragement to them just as much. So without further ado, we're going to be going into this. We're going to be looking at this video, and they're going to be talking about the numbers from just so far this year of the number of Christians that have been martyred in the nation of Nigeria. And just to give you a little information about Nigeria. Nigeria is the most populous state or country, and the most populous country in Africa. So they have a large population. It's very diverse. But then there are sections of the country that's divided up. I think they said in like 6 different states. But there are sections of the country that are predominantly Muslim. There's sections of the country that are Christian. Then there are sections of the country where it's fairly mixed. But they live together, they strive together. But within these communities, especially within the communities of Islam, of the Muslims, there are those who are very radical. There are groups, and we'll talk about them as we go through the video, that have a very extreme views, and therefore they are actually just carrying out what they believe the Quran is telling them to do. But we're just gonna be praying for our brothers and sisters, but we're gonna look at this video. They're gonna be talking about what the numbers are this year. We're gonna go over some information from the last video and share an update on where we're at for us with what the numbers are for us Christians that have been martyred just in the nation of Nigeria over the last 5 years or so. So without further ado, we're gonna go in. Once again, I'm featuring a video from the CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network. I have a link to the original video down below the video when you come to my YouTube channel, okay? So feel free to go watch it there, get them support, like and subscribe to their channel. They feature some very good information internationally, globally about Christians and persecution, and also many testimonies, which we'll cover some of those too. But if you like what I'm bringing you, hey, please like, subscribe to the channel. Please make comments, offer your prayers in the comments, offer your feelings about or how the video has impacted you, or finding out this knowledge, how it impacts. Put it in the comments. Let's begin to share and like and subscribe to the channel. All right, thank you. Appreciate your support. Here we go. Let me get this pulled up. All right, as you can see, it's coming from CBN, Christian Broadcasting Network, and they're going to be sharing some brief information here, then go proceed into it.
National Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law reports that since the beginning of just this year, at least 7,087 Christians have been massacred in the ongoing genocide in Nigeria. Well, Truth Nigeria's Mike Odeh James is here to break the news of 2 more deadly attacks. Mike, my friend, what can you tell us?
Yeah, well, thank you, Raj, and thanks for having me. Now, the report that says over 7,000 Nigerians have been massacred since the beginning of January 2025 is accurate, if not understating the fact. The fact is, people are dying. They are being killed by Fulani ethnic militia and Boko Haram and other jihadi groups. Now, and most of the people being killed, over 90% of them are Christians, Nigerians from Plateau, from Benue, from Southern Kaduna, from Taraba, and parts of Nasarawa State. Now, I will tell you about the two attacks that we have in recent times. If you remember, uh, Raj, we have Yelawata. Yelawata has been.
All right, so far and I hate to interrupt the video, folks. I just want to make sure I adhere to YouTube's policies that I'm not copyright infringing on Christian Broadcasting Network. But he just mentioned the numbers. Just this year alone, 7,000 people, over 7,000 people. And he said 90% of them are Christian, have been killed. Many of them martyred for their faith because they are Christian. He mentioned a group, Boko Haram. Many of us might be familiar with them. I think it was back like 2014. This is the same group, if some of you might remember. But they kidnapped like 276 schoolgirls from a boarding school in Nigeria and took them into an area that they controlled in the north of Nigeria. And there was a big international news, big international story because it was such a bold thing that they did. And so that's one of the groups, and he's going to get into some other things about that's going on. But he's just trying to explain to us what is happening, who are some of the groups that are perpetrating these crimes against Christians. Sorry about that.
A household name.
I'm sorry, folks, it's buffering.
And because over 270 Christians were murdered there in Benue State, Benue State, in a precinct called Yelawata. And the government has been trying to hide the fact that 270 Nigerian Christians were massacred. Now, the president, appalled by the killing, ordered the Nigerian security agencies, the army, the air force, the police, and the mobile police, a unit that is dedicated to anti-terrorism, to try and catch the killers and to curb further attacks. But unfortunately, Yelawata has been having series of attacks since the June attack. Now, just few days ago, Fulani herdsmen, Fulani terrorists, stormed Yelawata and they killed 3 persons. They macheted them, they slashed them with machete, shot some of them. And
this is something that is ongoing as he's talking about these different attacks that are taking place. But we just want to take for a moment, stop here. Now he's talking about certain regions where they having a lot of attacks, and he's just going over the violence of it. And some of them I'm just going to fast forward through because it was a lot of violence. People hacked to death. Some people shot to death. Just very brutal murders. As Christian brothers and sisters are being martyred by these jihadists. I'm sorry, folks. I'm gonna have to get a better laptop, I guess.
Catholic stations there and sent a lot of people packing. Then within Benue State again, there is a county called Otupa and a place called Orokramu. People are being kidnapped by Fulani ethnic militia. And in Otupa County, people are saying that Fulani is amassing for an attack. So they are running away. And they have reported all these cases to the Nigerian security, yet they told me that the security agencies have been unable to stop these people from attacking.
That's the question, Mike. We've done too many of these stories. I know you're frustrated. I'm frustrated. My friend here watching is frustrated. Why is the Nigerian government unable to stop this genocide?
Well, Raj, as a crisis reporter or a conflict reporter, I've been to other states in Nigeria where these things are happening. Nigeria is divided into about 6 geopolitical regions. You have what they call the North Central, which is heavily populated by the Christians. You have the Northwest, which is populated by the Muslims, and then you have the Northeast, which is also divided between the Muslims and the Christians. Now, the in the Northwest, this kind of terrorism that is being unleashed in Benue is also being unleashed by the Fulani ethnic militia groups in the Northwest. The Northwest comprises of Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Zamfara, and Sokoto. These areas have been terrorized and brutalized by the Fulani ethnic militia. And what we see is that the government is deploying drones, deploying heavy heavy armored personnel, carriers. They are sending soldiers there, and they are actually killing.
Okay. And what needs to get an update is, as I mentioned before, the Boko Haram group that's operating, that what is happening and what he's going to say in this section is that the government of Nigeria, that's what a lot of people asking, why isn't the government doing more to protect Christians? Why isn't the government doing more to find these killers and to stop these groups from perpetrating these massacres, perpetrating these horrific acts on the Christian community? Well, he's saying that the government resources are maxed out. Like I said before, back in 2014, there was that large kidnapping case of all those girls that got kidnapped, and there was quite a bit of news. And then Boko Haram went into some other countries and carried out attacks. So they got a lot of news. So there was a lot of pressure on the government to act. So they actually launched a military offensive against this group in that area of Nigeria. And one of the reasons they get from the government is that the government has so many resources tied up, pushing that group back away from some of these cities, pushing that group back further into the territory of control, that they don't have the resources to double back down and to cover these areas where these other groups are festering. So these other groups are taking advantage of that, for the lack of a better term. The other groups are exploiting that. They're exploiting the fact that the government had their resources that would protect these groups, had them tied up on the military front fighting an enemy. While these other groups, since they know that the government don't have no resources, they are carrying out these attacks. And these attacks are internal now. These are not groups necessarily called. These attacks are internal. These are other Nigerians of other faiths who are part of other groups who are carrying out these attacks against fellow Nigerians, but because they are of a different faith, because they are Christian instead of Muslim or Islamic, they're carrying out these attacks, killing Christians.
The terrorists, they are decapitating their leadership. Over 100 Fulani terrorist leaders have been actually killed in the past.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward.
The past 1 year in the Northeast, in the Northwest. But in the North Central, the central part of Nigeria, which is called the Middle Belt, which is populated almost.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm gonna get back a laptop. Y'all excuse me.
Active nationalities.
It's
We
coming.
don't have local Fulani. So how can we cooperate? How can we talk to people who are coming from outside Nigeria to murder us? So the fact is this: we don't know what is happening. The government is a little bit reluctant. Not little. The government is very, very reluctant in dealing with the insecurity, with the terrorism that is happening in the Middle Belt. That is what is happening.
I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what's in our power to do. Obviously, we're going to be praying for you, your family, the Christian population in Nigeria. Hopefully this video gets seen by someone important in the United States government. But Mike, you are doing incredible work. Thank you for always coming with the latest breaking information. Hopefully we don't have to do this story again, but something tells me we will. Mike, Odeh, James, God bless, my brother.
Thanks, Raj. I'll tell you what you can do for us. Just keep telling the world about what is happening.
Please.
Truth Nigeria is doing that. Equipping the needy, equipping the persecuted, led by George Sword, is doing that. So anytime there is a news of an attack, all you guys need to do is put it up, let people know that this is what is happening. Share it also. Go to the wall of the truthnigeria.com, equippingthepersecuted.com, and you will see it. Share it among your American friends. Eventually, Americans and the world will come to understand what is happening, and they will put pressure on Nigeria.
And that's what I was saying before. He's saying it now. That it's fact that no one's talking about. You're not going to see this on CNN, you're not Fox. You're not going to see this on the large legacy media channels. You're not going to see this or intense coverage. And now they're covering Hamas, they're covering Palestine, but they're not covering this story here that's going on in Nigeria with the same intensity. So people don't know. People aren't aware. So that's what he's saying here, that the best thing we can do is make people aware. Be praying for them, but make people aware. Make the nations aware of what's going on. And once those eyes and once those are put on the nation, he think that under the pressure of the global community, that there will be more action taken to prevent these groups from doing what they're doing. There could be more action. There could be more resolve within places of power and offices and positions of power to act and to do something about what's going on. Now, to further on to add to what they're talking about, now he said there was 7,000 that Christians that have been martyred in Nigeria this year. On top of that, there's been about another 3,000 kidnappings. They've been having young people, school children that have been kidnapped. Sometimes it's kidnapped, forced into labor. They kidnapped and abused. The girls sometimes are kidnapped, raped, held, forced into marriage, that type of thing. So even that, the atrocities like that are still happening. And like I said, up to 3,000 from what I've been reading. Let me pull that up. Were kidnapped just this year alone. But when I was talking before my last video, that there were about, I think it's Open Doors, another organization, relayed or quoted from their statistics and from the records they were been having, that they said between 2019 and 2023, that there was roughly in that 4-year period of time 16,700 Christians that were martyred or murdered in Nigeria. And 2024 is around about 4,300 that died. Now this year it's almost double it. It's at a little over 7,000, going on 7,100. So if you put those numbers together, you got close to 25, 23, 24,000, close to 24,000 Christians that have been martyred in a 5-6 year period of time. If you look on some of the stats that they're giving, let me go down here, and we're gonna come back to this list. This list that I got here. Let me show you. This list. If you go to Open Doors, USA.org. You can read this article yourself. You can educate yourself on what's going on. But this article is the 10 most dangerous places to be a Christian, and it changes. Some of the countries vary from in their position from year to year, and we're going to go over some of these because even in the midst of all of this, even in the midst of the atrocities, the gospel still going forth in some of these places. Some of these places that are so full of persecution, so where such a heavy hand is dealt to Christians, even in some of these places, there's a revival breaking out. Even in some of these places, there still remains a strong, committed church of followers of Christ. But here it is. We get to Nigeria. Nigeria is number 7 on the top 10 list. And like I said, it's the most populous country in Africa. The tax increase under the rule of the former president. Let me go a little further here. There's a statistic they had on there. I think the statistic said that that because of the number of Christians being attacked and killed, that there's a Christian that dies in Nigeria every 2 hours. So it averages out to about 4,000. As I said, for about 4,400, about 4,000 people a year. But this year has been increasing. I mean, this year, just here in August, they're already up over 7,000 confirmed cases of people that have died, Christians that have died, have been killed through persecution. Okay, maybe it was let me see this. Yeah, more than 16.2 million Christians in the sub-Saharan Africa, including a high number from Nigeria, have been driven from their homes by violence and conflict. Millions now live in displacement camps. Or they are basically in refugee type camps within their own country. They're in displacement camps. Because they've had to flee their home, they had to flee their territory, flee their states, give up what they have built, give up their livelihood out of fear of being caught up and being a victim of jihadists that are actually hunting and looking for Christians to kill. So let's keep them in our prayers. Soon I'll be dropping another video. Like I said, if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, leave some comments in the comments area. Give your opinion or your prayers or your hopes, or just leave some words of encouragement for the Nigerian Christian brothers and sisters that are enduring these things. And when we come back again, another video, we're going to be featuring some of these nations on this top 10 list of what's going on in them, and let you be aware of the need for prayer for these Christians in these other nations. Once again, I'm Evangelist Fred Wiggins. If you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Please interact, leave comments with the video. It'd be much appreciated. Again, we'll be back with you with some more videos. And the next one will probably be featuring on these top 10 nations where Christian persecution is most prevalent. All right, thank you. You have a good night.